Alrighty, welcome back. In the last lesson, we learned about arrays, which are basically just lists. And today, or I guess in this lesson, we're going to learn about objects. Now, we know that JavaScript is an object-oriented programming language, but do we really know what that means? In a sense, yes. What we have been using have not really been objects. We've used a little bit of object-oriented notation when it comes to functions and using the, I'm doing air quotes here, the this keyword. There are classes, there are functions, and then there are object variables or object data types. And these are all technically called objects. And that's because JavaScript is a very large dynamic language that lets you really control every aspect of it. So what we're learning here is a data type called object. So as an example, variable, object. An object is not a reserved keyword, at least not with a lowercase o anyways. And remember, it does the whole curly braces thing. And we have a key here. So in fact, let's not call it object, let's call it person. And let's create a person because objects have these things called properties. So person's name, and we declare it by adding the name. It doesn't need to have quotations around it. Although if you do put quotations around it, it's not going to hurt either. And then instead of an equal sign, you put a colon. Now your value has to have quotations around it, or unless it's like a number, in which case it doesn't. But for this case, as a name, it does. So what is the name going to be? Let's say Elon Musk. And what is his age? I have absolutely no idea how old he is. I don't know, 45 maybe? Beats me. Technology. What has he invented? Well, he's invented more than one thing. He's worked on more than one project. So a string just isn't going to cut it unless we wanted to create a comma-separated list. Basically like test 2, test 3, right? And then explode or split that list by comma and space, which in my opinion is a bad idea. We might as well create a list. So here's a fun fact. Objects can hold lists in their properties. So tech, what do you work on? PayPal, which was technically called x.com. He's worked on SpaceX. He's worked on the Hyperloop. He's worked on Tesla. Those are just 4 of the biggest successes of his life, probably. But there are probably a lot more. As you can tell, I'm a fan of this guy. So, what happens when I console log person? I get object, name is equal to Elon Musk, age is 45, and tech is an array of 4 different names. So here's something interesting. You remember the last lesson when we had an array and everything was kept in order? Well, fun fact, objects don't preserve your order. So don't ever rely on that. In fact, objects aren't meant to preserve your order. Objects are meant to be key value pairs. So where we see tech, we have PayPal, SpaceX, Hyperloop, and Tesla, and our code is going to be in that order too. We have, let me just get back to it here, PayPal, SpaceX, Hyperloop, and Tesla in that order. But our object has age come before name. That's not right. And it looks like it's just being in alphabetical order right now. But the browser can interpret that in any way they want, and we don't have control over that, so don't assume that any object is going to preserve its necessary order, nor is it a good idea to do that anyways. Now, if we wanted to get just the name of somebody, all we have to do is type, not there, person.name, and we get the name. So as an example, we can say document.querySelector test.innerHTML is equal to, and we have the test here because we wrote this in our last lesson. I just moved the file over to be in this lesson, so index.html is the same. Refresh the page, there we go, we have Elon Musk. Now what if we wanted to say person is how many years old? I don't know, person.age. Let's put that on a new line. It's getting a little crowded there. Years old and has started. And what if we did person.tech.join comma, space. Save that, and let's move over to the page. Elon Musk is 45 years old and has started, oh, I forgot the space there, but it says PayPal, SpaceX, Hyperloop, and Tesla, and that's started. There we go, space. Done. So now we've made a sentence by concatenating different parts of this object. Now it doesn't stop there. Objects can also hold functions. We know about anonymous functions, so why can't we run an anonymous function inside of an object? So what if we wanted to change that person's name? We could create a function in here called, I don't know, change name. And that is a function, and whatever the name is going to be, let's call it new name. And we change this dot name is equal to new name. Now you don't have to return anything in this function. I generally return this because returning this allows you to typically, in most languages, chain your functions together. So we know that if we ever run person.name, we're going to get Elon Musk. But what if we change that name and we said person.change name to John Man, because I'm not feeling creative with names right now, apparently. Refresh the page. John Man is 45 years old. So now we have a function attached to an object. We ran this function. What if we wanted to change his age? Change age. Function new age should be an integer preferably. This dot age is equal to new age. Return this. And what if I did change age and he's 12? Look at that. John Man is 12 years old and has started PayPal, SpaceX, Hyperloop, and Tesla. Whoever this John Man is, he's very impressive. But you can see that we started off with default information here. Elon Musk was the name, 45 was his age. We changed his name, we changed his age before we spit it out to the page using inner HTML. And when we did that, we changed the value here. So, as an example, let's console log person. So I just want to show you what it looks like before and after. So I come back and I refresh my page, and here I don't even have to expand. I can just show you that the name is Elon Musk, his age is 45, but the second time around, it's not. It's changed. And that's the power of an object. So objects can not only hold information, but they can change, they can hold ways to change that information. Now, with an object like this, we can also go ahead and we can change the value manually. Person.age is equal to 156. Save, refresh, and here we go. So it was 45, it was 12. We changed it to 156, and the page says 156. What if we wanted to add something new? Okay, person.children. How many children does this person have? I don't know, 6 maybe? Let's go ahead and console log this whole person again for a third time so we can see the change. We have Elon Musk, 45. We have John Man, he's 12. John Man is now 156. And look at that, he has 6 children. So now we have added to this object, we've added what is called a property. Now, unlike an array, I'm just gonna get rid of this because it's unnecessary. Actually, I want to keep that 1 in there. I want to get rid of this. There we go. Now, unlike an array, we only ever use dot notation for objects. Why? Because arrays come in a list, but objects do not. So what if we said person name? What happens when we do this? We just log that. Wow, look, that still works. Awesome. But what if we wanted tech and whatever the third option was? Remember, number 2 in programming it's 0, 1, 2. So if you count that out with your fingers, that's number 3. That's the third option. Gives us the third option. PayPal, SpaceX, Hyperloop. There we go, third option. So that works as well. And if we wanted to add more, we could add more that way as well, because JavaScript is fairly lenient in some regards. Let's put married is equal to true. Now, this is a data type that we have not really explored too much, and this is called a Boolean. This data type here can only ever be true or false. So let's say married is equal to true, and I want to see the entire person here. I want to see if this also works on an object. Look at that, married is true. So now we know that objects somewhat work like arrays, but sort of also don't.